You are onto a life transforming experience as Pastor Prince Abah brings you God's Word with deep insights and power. God bless you.
Let me talk about the indices for national transformation. It's called Indexes to National Development, because every nation that wants to experience change must know the formulas. There are formulas, there are principles responsible for change, for national transformation. If you look at nations that have become successful, that have moved from third world to first world, one of the things you find out is that there are things they deliberately did to move their nations from third world to first world. One of such nations is Singapore. If you have read that book written by Lee Kuan Yew, the former Prime Minister of Singapore, it's titled From Third World to First World. You find out that everything that led to the development of Singapore are based on principles. They are premised on values. They are premised on certain fundamental codes. And any nation can change. That's the truth. It doesn't matter what a nation is currently facing. It doesn't matter what Nigeria is currently saying now. If Nigeria knows the principles, if Nigeria knows those codes, if Nigeria knows those values and laws that are responsible for national transformation, of course they can change also. So Singapore identified those principles and they were able to undergo them deliberately and intentionally. And what it gave birth to was a first world nation. It's one of the most desirable nations in the world today. A nation that is so beautiful. They have the best one of the best airports in the world now, and all of that. Okay. It's also important to let you know that national transformation cannot happen until there's first personal transformation. Because every nation is a conglomerate of individuals, what you call citizens. Every country is made up of citizens. For instance, where do the leaders from Nigeria or in Nigeria emerge from? Where do they come from? From the citizens. From the citizens. Our governor came from the citizens. He was not a governor before. Our senators, they came from the citizens. They are citizens. They were just ordinary citizens before. They became politicians before they became leaders, before they became House of Reps members, before they became senators, before they became whatever. So you see, the most important asset available to any nation is the people resource, what you call the citizens. And that is why any nation that trivializes the importance of people is in for trouble. It's good to build structures, you know. It's good to get into infrastructural development, the building of social amenities, you know. It's good to build good roads and do all of that. These are powerful things, you know. Make a city look beautiful on the outside. But the very, very best place to build, or the very best resource to build, is human resource, people. Because when you build people, people end up building nations, you know. That's what it is. People end up building nations when you build them. You can build a nation with structures. You can build a nation with, you can do good bridges, good roads, and all of that. And after a while, they are in decay. Why? Because the people will end up not appreciating what you have built. Yeah. As long as the people are not built, they don't value what you build. Yeah. For instance, in Nigeria, we throw a lot of garbages around. You see people who eat and they dispose on the road. I see a lot of motorists do it in this country. They are driving, eating bananas, or passengers are eating, and they throw it on the coal tar. I see people, you know, vandalize our street lights. People vandalize pipelines. You know, people steal government properties. People waste government vehicles. You give them good vehicles and they cannot manage it. You see what is going on with the police force, the way they misuse vehicles graciously given to them by the government. They waste it, abuse the whole stuff. Why? If the guy who is driving has a deformed mindset, he deforms what he's given. If the guy who is driving the vehicle has a damaged mentality, he damages the resources given to him. There's no two ways about it. So, why a nation or a government is building infrastructure, you must also build the infrastructure of the minds. There are mental infrastructures to erect. That's why you can't play with things like schools in a nation, you know. You can't play with things like libraries in a nation. You can't play with things like resource centers, research centers, and all of that. People have got to be exposed. You can't play with that and expect your nation to be a developed nation. Oh, okay, I wish I have all the time, but let me show you. There are about 7 indexes to national transformation. Very powerful. I'll just be brief with them and we'll be out of this place. You know, this meeting has been an awesome meeting for me, you know. Nigeria is shifting. It's shifting. When we're planning nation shift, it seemed like it was not going to happen. But you see the turnout, see the response. Look at the overflow. Thousands of people everywhere. That tells me Nigeria is about to be rebirthed. Nigeria is about to be born again. Yeah, it's about to be born again. Because out of this place will rise leaders who will change the tide. Leaders who would make a difference. Leaders who would set the pace. Who will set a standard. And if you have not known, Nigeria is going to become the world's most desirable nation. The most desirable nation in the world. The rest of the world is going to point to this country. They will come to learn from us. We're going to have the best buildings, the best people, the best schools. Power is going to be steady. We're going to have everything in, you know. God is doing something in Nigeria. A group of people are rising that will take this nation to the next level. And you are amongst those guys. Okay, I show you quickly 7 indexes of national transformation. Or what you may call 7 indices to national development. National development. How does a nation change? What are the steps? Just 7. And they all start with the individual. Yeah, that's why I made that statement that national transformation cannot happen until persons or citizens in that country experience personal transformation. Alright. So the first principle or the first indices for national development is personal discovery. Personal discovery. The citizens of every nation must discover themselves. The citizens of Nigeria must discover themselves for who they really are. No nation will truly develop until the collective citizenry in that nation begin to ask themselves questions about who they are. Yeah. The first question to ask, as a matter of fact, is who are you? Who am I? Who are you has nothing to do with your name. Who are you is not answering, I am Nkechi, I am Enoebong, I am whatever. No. Who are you has everything to do with the discovery of your identity, the discovery of your purpose, the discovery of your calling, the discovery of your assignment, the discovery of yourself. Who are you? You know why we have criminals in this country? They don't know who they are. If you know who you are, crime becomes unfashionable. You know why we have prostitutes around? They don't know who they are. If you know who you are, prostitution becomes unfashionable. We have miscreants, social miscreants all over the society, all over the nation. You know why? Because they don't know who they are. Your greatest security in life is your identity. The discovery of who you are is what gives you your security. You can't abuse yourself when you know who you are. There is one form of abuse that is greater than every other form of abuse. It is called self-abuse. Self-abuse is higher than drug abuse. Self-abuse is higher than whatever kind of abuse, substance abuse, or whatever abuse you call it. Self-abuse. And self-abuse happens when people don't know who they are. If you don't know who you are, you treat yourself without value. If you don't know who you are, you treat yourself carelessly. If you don't know who you are, you dress anyhow and walk on the street. You can dress naked or dress nude. You don't know who you are, you can carry gun for anybody. The discovery of yourself, the discovery of your purpose. What is purpose? Purpose is that unique assignment God has created you to achieve. Every one of you in this hall. There is something God created you to achieve in life. There's a destiny hanging on your neck. And until this nation begin to put framework in place that helps our citizens discover who they are, there is no much far we can go. I was speaking to a group of, professors recently. I told them, why is it that in your universities you don't have courses like self-discovery? Why don't you have things like purpose-driven life in your university? Those courses are good, You should have courses that deals on discovery, personal discovery, courses that helps people discover their potentials, discover their talent, discover what they are born to be, who they are born to be. If you mold people in the area of just intellectual whatever, and you don't take out time to get them to see what they are called to become in life, then national transformation will be almost impossible. See how it works. I give an example now. This is important. We must know this. When we go to school in Nigeria or in Africa, we go to school to study other people. But we hardly study anything about ourselves. We hardly learn anything about ourselves. It's a big mistake. We go to school to study Charles Darwin. Is that what it's called? That my evolution theory guy, We go to school to study Thomas Edison. We go to school to study the Wright brothers. We go to school to study Michael Faraday. We study a whole lot of them. Aristotle, Plato, Socrates. Oh, it was Socrates who actually said, man, know thyself. Very powerful philosophy from Socrates. He said, man, know thyself. That's what self-discovery is all about. You must know who you are. So we study these great guys, scientists, great philosophers, and great writers and authors and all of that. But in all our stay in school, there is little or nothing that is done in the area of discovering ourselves. So what do we do after all? We end up reading about men who discovered themselves. Yeah, that's the truth. We end up reading about Michael Faraday. His works are only results of self-discovery. We end up reading about Thomas Edison. His inventions are only products of self-discovery. We end up reading about Mary Slessor. Her exploits are only offshoots of self-discovery. We end up reading about Mother Teresa and a whole lot of other guys, Martin Luther King Jr. and the rest of them. These men are products of, we end up reading about Nelson Mandela in history. We read about Zeke. We read about Awolowo and the rest. These are men who are products of self-discovery. So the key for national development, first, personal discovery. Imagine Zeke never knew who he was. Perhaps there would have been no Nigeria. Can you see that? Zeke of Africa. He must have first of all known what he was born to be. Imagine Zeke was throwing his life in the clubs. Imagine Zeke was throwing his life in wild parties. Imagine Zeke was smoking Igbo. Maybe he would have run mad. Imagine Zeke, Tafawa Balewa, Awolowo, Amadu Bello, all of those great guys that fought for freedom and independence. Imagine these guys didn't have a cause to chart in life. Imagine there was no purpose hanging on their life. Imagine there was no essence hanging on their life. Perhaps would not be any nation. There would have been no nation called Nigeria on the surface of the world. Maybe we would have been sold out to slavery. Some of you guys who are looking this fine and wonderful, you have good cars parked out there, would have been perhaps in one country. You would have been sold long time ago in slavery. Maybe by now you would have been long dead and forgotten. But one guy stood up, a product of personal discovery, changed the whole tide for a whole nation. Imagine every Nigerian was a Zeke. Imagine every Nigerian was an Awolowo. Imagine every Nigerian is a Nelson Mandela. What are you talking about? We already have a national development. We have national development already. Personal discovery. That is the first key for national development. Look at Mary Slessor. What did she fight for? Killing of twins. There's some of you who are twins here. Like this young lady, she's a twin. But you see, she's alive today. If Mary Slessor hadn't come before you, you would have gone the day you were born. You would have been long gone. Somebody discovered herself. Chart a course. You are alive today with your twin sister. Can't you see what discovery can do to a nation? Okay, you enjoy some applications, some phones. There are some phones you use, gadgets you use, your iPad. Look at Steve Jobs, see Bill Gates, see Warren Buffett, and all these great guys. Who are they? Products of personal discovery. Today we can enjoy these things they have provided for their world because somebody did not waste his life. Self-abuse ends you up as a refuse. Society will refuse. It's true. Self-abuse only will end you up as a refuse. Society will refuse. QED. There are many guys who had potentials who would have amounted to great guys in this nation, but they died. Some of them were shot dead. Some of them were wasted in drugs. Some of them cocaine. Some of them prostitution. Contracted one ailment, they died. And these are great potentials. But because I think we need to go back to some of these things, I would recommend the government of this country to develop, let's do something about our curriculum. The curriculum we run in this country, in our educational system, deepens our crisis than even helps us out of it. The curriculum we run in this nation worsens the state of being of many citizens than even help them. You see people who go to school, they are broken, coming out from broken homes, they are confused about life, they graduate, do youth service, graduate, and they're still telling you they don't know anything they are called to do. They don't know their career path, they don't know who they are meant to be, they don't know the life they are meant to be living, they can't make the right decisions and the right choice, they can't plan. It tells me something is missing in our educational curriculum. There's a content missing somewhere. We need to go back and put it back. Content like self-discovery. Content like personal discovery. We need to go back to it. So that after 4 years, okay, it can even be put in secondary school. After 6 years of secondary school, 4 years minimum of, university education, somebody would have come out knowing this is who I am. That's what the developed world do. In as much as they do history abroad, they also try to teach these guys the future. An average student abroad is not just learning history, he's learning history to make history. Yeah, he's not just learning history. He's learning history to make another history. That means while they are pointing him to the past, they are also pointing him to the future. We need that. Oh, for time's sake, let's go to the next index. Put it up on the projector. Let's see it. Okay, that's it. You see? Okay. So now you see the second point. There deals with personal transformation. Yeah. All right. So the first one, personal discovery, self-discovery. The second one deals with personal transformation. So what is personal transformation there? Personal transformation is transformation of your being. If you look at what Pastor was talking about a few minutes ago, he mentioned the 3 phases of a man's life. There are 3 phases of your life. There is the being side or the 3 sides of your life. I think that's a better language. The 3 sides of your life. There is the being side. There is the doing side. Okay, I can put it 4. He said 3, but let me give you 4. There is the knowing side. The knowing side deals with personal discovery. Then there is the being side. The being side deals with personal transformation. Personal transformation or transformation is about your person. It's about you. This has nothing to do with discovering your potentials again. It now has everything to do with changing your quality of person. Your values. That's where value comes in. The inside. Just like we pointed out from the scripture, Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. God said, let us make man in our image. Image there is the being. Likeness is the doing. So there is the knowing side, there is the being side, then there is the doing side, then there's the having side. Can I show you from that same passage? Genesis 1 verse 26. And let us make man, God said, let us make man in our image and likeness. And let them have dominion. So see the equation here. Let us make man in our image. The image there deals with the being. The being there is the nature. The being there is the person. The nature of the person. The values of the person. God's nature is the nature of love. God's nature is compassion. God's nature is integrity. God's nature is kindness. God's nature is service. God's nature is humility. God's nature is anything that deals with values is image. That's your person. Attitude. Character. That's being. That's image. So at the level of personal transformation, what are you working on now? Image. Image. Values. Character. Value system. Principles. Love. Compassion. What are your personal life's values? That's what we deal with at the level of personal transformation. Your morals. Your ethics. Personal transformation. Because you can discover you are a great guy, you can do great things, you can discover great potentials and still be living a mess. And your life can be, they give you money to keep, you spend what is not yours. They give you one other person's property to manage. They give you a position in the government. You know, maybe the governor trusts you with a position in the government and you go there and mess yourself up because you lack character. They give you, properties to manage and all of that. Instead of being a good steward of it, you sold it, you converted the money into your own accounts. You know, that's the problem we have. We have a lot of politicians in this country who are very intelligent and all that. But you see, the area of transformation, personal transformation is where we're having a big issue. Corruption is just a product of that. It's lack of personal transformation that produces corrupt leaders. We have leaders who may be sound in the mind. They may have competence and skills. We'll soon get to that point, you know. They may have discovery about leadership. They know certain things about leadership. They know they are born to be leaders and all that. But they get into office and they waste themselves. They abuse the office. They abuse the citizens. And they put the nation in a prolonged state of underdevelopment. Why? Because they lack the second one, which is called personal transformation. That is the molding of your person. The molding of your being, your image, your character. What are your life's personal values? That is what you mold at the level of personal transformation. So, for God, the first thing, one of the most paramount thing in making man was to impute his image in him. God wanted man to be like him. That's image. To be like him. Personal transformation deals with being. I don't know if you're getting what we're talking about. That's what it is. Your being. The quality of your person. Your being deals with your values. Your values. Or you can use the word your ethics. You can use the word your attitudes. Why this is important is that even if you discover yourself, you don't get this one in place, your potentials will be knocked. It can be grounded. It's just like a good car with a nice body, nice steering, nice everything, but the engine is sick. The character of a man is like the engine of a car. Just like the heart is the engine of the human body or the engine of the human life. Once the heart fails, the body halts. The same way, once your character fails, once your values fail, your life stagnates. It doesn't matter what you can do. If people around you know you are a dupe, they won't give an appointment. QED. People around you know you are a cheat. They know if they give you 1 million now, you can't account for the 1 million. They won't give you that office. Personal transformation is what you need. We need a nation where people's properties are safe. It will take personal transformation to achieve that. Where a person can drive his car, nobody snatches it. Where a person can, buy good TV, buy good DVD, buy furniture, keep in his house, put money in his house, and he's sure nobody's going to knock on his door at midnight to request for those properties forcefully. We need a nation like that. A nation, people go to the airport, they forget their bags, and nobody picks it up. The guy can still come back after 2 days and find the bag at the same spot. We need that. All this one, we are building houses and building tall fences and putting big gates. It's not a sign of how wealthy or important we are. It's just a sign of our insecurity. It's just a display of our insecurity in this nation. Yeah, because if we have a nation where people have values, you don't need all that. People can drive their cars freely. People can park their cars, leave the key in the ignition and walk around freely. And nobody will drive it away. You don't need so much of policemen to do that job. You don't need so much of constitution to... Let the constitution be in the hearts of the people. Let the discipline be in the hearts of the people. That's values. Once we have it as a nation, there is nothing that would keep us where we are. We can't be talking about 50-something years as a nation, and we are still struggling and crawling to attain first world. The reason is because we have failed in the matter of values. A guy who steals pencil in primary school and doesn't correct that will soon start stealing with guns. Give him time. If you put him in office, maybe you give him an elective position in government, he will start looting money. Nothing makes that guy different though. Nothing makes the guy who is stealing in the office different from the guy who is stealing with gun. The one who is stealing with pen is as powerful, even more powerful than the one who is stealing with gun. The one who is stealing with gun is not so intelligent enough to use the pen. That's the difference. He only has the muscle to use the gun and bully. The guy who uses the pen is so smart. He doesn't like the hard work. So he uses the smart work formula to get the job done. There are two kinds of work you can be doing. There is physical assertion. There is mental assertion. So the guys who are using gun to bully people and steal their stuff are doing physical assertion. The ones who use pen to write off, they give you a contract. It's supposed to be 1 million. You hike it to 10 million. You are a criminal. Public funds put in your custody. Use it for the betterment of society. You divert it into your foreign account. Judgment is coming to catch up with you. If you don't reap it as a person, your children will reap it. Watch and see. Transformation of values. That's what we're talking about. That's personal. It's not changing your dressing. That's not just it. It's not changing your hairstyle. That's not a personal transformation. It's not going to buy new clothes and I'm now totally transformed. No, that is not it. It's transformation of your life's values. What are your core ethics? Every citizen needs core ethics. Personal codes of conduct. Personal codes of conduct. Okay, we'll take it to the third one because of time. The third principle or the third index to national transformation. Personal development. I'm still going to use the Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 story now to show you where that comes in. You see, after knowing, which is discovery, and the other one being, which deals with personal transformation, and the transformation is transformation of your nature, your values. God calls it image. Let us make man in our image. That means God wanted man to be like him. The other point is, let us make man in our likeness. Let us make man in our image and our likeness. What is likeness? God made man in his image. That means God made man to be like him. Then he made man in his likeness. That means God made man to function like him. Functioning like God does not necessarily require personal transformation now. Personal transformation makes you be like God. But personal personal development makes you function like God. So likeness now deals with personal development. Number 1, personal discovery. Number 2, personal transformation of values. That's being. Then number 3 is personal development. That is doing. So you see the phases. The phases are knowing, being, doing, then having. It is after the likeness, God now said, and let them have dominion. Have dominion. So now, I will show you where the having is. It's still in this whole index I'm showing you. I'll show you where the having is. I've shown you the knowing. The knowing is a personal discovery. I've shown you the being. The being is a personal transformation. I've shown you what's the next one I've shown you? I've shown you the likeness. That's the one I'm showing you now. That's the doing. The doing is the personal development. What do you do at the level of personal development? Build yourself with skills. At the level of personal development, you go for competence. You go for skills. Personal development. It's called personal development, not collective development. That means it's a responsibility you must take for yourself to become good at what you do. If we will become a developed nation, every citizen must work hard to expel mediocrity from his life. Yeah. There are places I go to in this country and I'm like, oh my God. Things still happen like this. People still dress like this. People still talk like this. People still run offices like this. People still reason like this. You know why? They didn't invest in their mind. Personal development has to do with your mental, refurbishing. The refurbishing of your mind. The overhauling of the debris in your mind. And, it's like, how do I put it? Clearing debris from your mind and erecting empires in it. Personal development deals with the quality of your mind, the quality of your thoughts. It deals with the investment in your mind. And how do you build yourself in your mind? Books. Training. You attend seminars. Go and take a course. Brush yourself. Nobody pays you for being a mediocre. There's a place in space for everybody to function. The space is so empty. There are few people who go up there. The ground level is so crowded. The ground is full of mediocres. How often do you see eagles? I'm sure some of you have not even seen one eagle all your life. It flies so high. What makes the eagle more cherished and more special than a chicken? The eagle can fly high, the chicken cannot. The eagle can dare height, chickens cannot. You want to be a high flyer. You want to live the ground level of life. You want to live that zone of comfort. Become a man that is reckoned with in society, in your nation. You must invest in your mind. You must build yourself. You must go for books. Read books. Invest the coins in your purse into your mind, and your mind will fill your purse with gold. Go for books. It doesn't matter how costly they are. Buy them. I have a policy and a principle. It doesn't matter how costly a book is. I would prefer to buy it than buy a new suit. Actually, I can actually bargain the price of a suit, but if a book is too good, I don't bargain it. I buy the book. I go for CDs. I go for audio CDs, video CDs that lecture me. Then I go for mentorship. That field of life where you want to be, where you want to practice, maybe that career field or whatever field of life, business or whatever you do. Who is doing well in that field already? Go and submit under him. If you can't get the guy directly, get his works. Read the works of the guy. If he has tips, listen to his tips. Discover what makes him unique and outstanding in his field and start doing what he does. And you start getting the same result. The problem we have around here is that people like halfway measure. They like halfway measure. They don't want to give time to details. They don't want to give attention to building up themselves, to developing themselves, to putting something in their minds. Ignorance will not do Africa any good. You say Africa is a dark continent. Not because the country or the continent has people with black skin. The problem of Africa is not our skin color or our skin pigmentation. The problem with Africa is that the minds of the people are dark. If you read Genesis, you see where God made light. He said, and let there be light. The light there has nothing to do with sun or NEPA. No, the light there has everything to do with knowledge, vision, competence, development, personal development, mental illumination. That's what we're talking about. How far do you want to travel? What's the distance you want to travel in life? What's the height you want to go in life? You must first go that height in your mind. That's true. Any building you see rising up so high is a building that first went in so deep. The height of a building is determined by the depth. You cannot be building a skyscraper and be erecting a bungalow foundation. You cannot be putting up a 10-story building and the foundation you have beneath is a 1-story building foundation. The depth you dig determines the height you will see. It's as simple as that. So if you don't dig deep, you can't go high. You need to keep digging deep. Sometimes it looks like you're wasting your time. You're not seeing the result you need to see. But keep digging. You see these guys who are building. They want to build something important. Like what our dear governor is doing with the flyovers he's building and all of that he's doing. You look at the work, it's like it's not coming to completion. But the quality of the work is traceable in the amount of time that work is given. It's taking time. They are building it consistently, diligently. That's how it must. If you want to become a high flyer, you must be patient at working on yourself. You must sit down and deliberately build yourself. Work on yourself. Develop yourself. Go for courses. Even if you have a first degree, don't celebrate it, my friend. First degree is no longer fashionable. Keep your first degree. Go for your master's if you can. Okay, aside the formal education and all of that, go for other courses. You can do informal trainings. Go and get some other related information. Go for other courses. You can be multi-learned, you know. Don't stop where you train. Maybe you read political science and you can go for law. You can go for something else. You can go learning other thing. Learn a skill. Of course, there are two kinds of knowledge. There is informal knowledge. There is formal knowledge. These are two kinds of training. Formal training is the one you do in the classroom, and that's just 20% of your total human development. The rest of the 80% is outside the classroom. It's on your phone. It's on your iPad. It's in the newspaper you will not read. It's in the books in the libraries you won't go for. It's in the books in the bookshops you will not go for. With the advent of technology now, people are into WhatsApp and Facebook to go and all of that. They are no longer giving time to libraries. They no longer give time to bookshops. Of course, bookshops are not fashionable anymore because we are busy running up and down, doing shows and parties and all of that. And you stay around a young guy and a young girl looking fine on the outside, but nothing can come out of him. He doesn't know anything. There are some young people, graduates, who are having problems with spelling now. Why? They don't give attention to personal development. Go and build a library for yourself. Every house in Nigeria needs a library. If you're a parent here, you're listening to me, the best gift you should give your children on their birthdays should be books. In as much as you need to take them sometimes to the amusement parks, the crunchies and all of that. All that is good. But sometimes take them to libraries, lock them there. And especially on vacations, if they are busy idling away and watching movies, take them to libraries, keep them there to read books, go to office. When you're closing from office, come and pick them and go back home. Give that child the next 12 years of his education. You'll be shocked. Or the next 9 years of his education. You'll be shocked what that child will become. You would have molded a foundation in him he would carry on with, even after he has left the university. So we need personal development in this country. Every citizen must cultivate in themselves the attitude of reading. We must go back to books. Everybody must read. The governor must read. The president must read. Ministers must read. Pastors must read. Mechanics must read. Do you know, as a mechanic, if you read enough books in your field, you will do mechanic with a difference. As an organizer, if you read enough books in your field and expose yourself to enough information in that field, over time you will stand out in your city. It's been proven. What makes me different from the rest of the pastors around? Because I study in the line of in my field. I study this ministry thing so well. I look at people who are doing well. I go submit under them and learn from them. I get their books, I read. Today I'm doing all manner of things. I'm doing meetings like this. I'm preaching all manner of things. I'm writing all manner of books. And people are wondering, wow, how is he doing that? Did he fall from the sky? No, I did not. I took time to work on myself. Personal development. Nobody hires a mediocre. Everyone wants to hire somebody who knows the job. There is no job in Nigeria. No job is a lie. If you know the job, you'll get the job. That's how it works. There's no employment. No. They would retrench you from work if you are not developing. They cannot retrench the guy who is the reason for the profit of the company out of the job. You need to keep building yourself. You want to stay on that job. If you're working in a career sector, you're working for, as an employee, or whatever. You want to keep being indispensable. The secret is personal development. You must know something other staff in that company don't know. Your boss must know, I cannot do without this guy. You can decide to fire your boss. You want an increase in your pay, just develop yourself. Let it be known in that company you are the reason that company is standing and making profit. One day write a resignation letter. The whole company will go on their news. Then you can now fix your new price. That's how it works. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It takes personal development. Personal development. That's the doing side. You need to do this thing. The mistake we make is we want to jump from knowing to having. I know who I am. It's all good, I'm a great man. You confess it. I am born to do great exploit. You confess it. There's nothing wrong with all that. But after you get to know who you are, you must start working on your being. From working on your being, start doing. Start doing. The reason being is first before doing is because the quality of your doing is tied to the quality of your being. At the level of being, you build the character recipes that will keep you doing it. Because that you're doing these things doesn't mean you will get the result immediately. But with character, with stamina, that's being more stamina. With stamina, you will stay on the process. For instance, when you are a man of patience, even when the money is not coming, when you are doing some things, you will be patient. That's why being is important. If you're a man of integrity, when you are doing things and it looks like you need to make shortcuts to get these quick rich things and all of those stuff, that quality of being you are keeps you away from doing the wrong things just to get rich. You see why it's important? But you just jump into doing without having the being side. You can do anything just because you want to have it. You can kill to have it. These guys who are killing to get wealthy, there are guys who are wealthy around. They have cars, they have jeeps, they have houses, they have all kinds of things, and you are celebrating them. No, they don't have being. They did anything to get it. But if you have being, you want to do the right thing to get it. That's why being is important. It must be a two-leg balance. You can't have the doing and not have the being. If you have the doing, then you can do anything to get it. Alright. So after the doing, you now get the having. The having comes at the fourth index. The fourth index is what you call personal effectiveness. Personal effectiveness is that index or that level where you become successful. That's where you start having. The way it works is that at the level of personal development, you no longer discover yourself. People start discovering you. That's how it works. At the level of personal discovery, you discover who you are. Once you move to personal transformation and move to personal development, you no longer discover yourself. People start discovering you. Hey, there's a guy who is good with that work. Let's get that contract to him. There's a guy who is too gifted with this job. He's gifted. He's a skillful man. He doesn't just have skill. He has skills and character to match. He is so wow. He's exceptional in what he does. People start discovering you. That's what the Bible meant by, seest thou a man diligent in his business. He shall stand before kings and not mere men. He shall stand before kings and not mere men. That's what this thing we're talking about is. So at that point, people begin to realize, wow, that guy is good. He knows his job. Let's hire him. You start getting paid for contract. You start getting paid for what you can do. Maybe you sing. Go and develop skills and develop character at the same time. That's being. Develop this thing together. People want to hire to come and sing in their weddings. They will pay you. They will hire you to come and sing in their occasions. They pay you. They hire you to churches to come and sing in their concerts and they pay you. You know, see what is going on with Frank Edwards now. What does he have? Skills. Personal development. You play on the keyboard. My friend, learn how to play professionally and internationally. Leave this local area things you're playing and go to the, play like the guy who is playing for Obama in the US. Reach out for that level. I like that. You cook, you sell food. Stop cooking what only your household can eat. And start cooking what people in the White House and Aso Rock can eat. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Because the guy who is cooking for his house is actually cooking. But what about the guy who is cooking for Aso Rock? He's making money from cooking. Why are you not making money from your own? The difference is he has a skill you don't have. So you need to go and build skills. Whatever you have discovered you're gifted to do, go and develop it. Train yourself, build skills, add confidence. Then people start discovering you. They start asking you to come and do this, and they pay you. Personal development is what you do in the secret. It's what you do when nobody's seeing you. That one takes pain. It takes a lot of pain. Before you see the glory, there must be a process. There is no success without a process. So when pastor is telling you, get books and read, get tapes and listen to them, spend time. There are people who spend from 7 p.m. till dawn, nightclubs, dancing, listening to whiskey, watching Timaya and all that. But they won't spend quality hours in seminars and trainings. They won't spend quality time upgrading their knowledge. They won't spend time going for courses, taking courses. Very soon, like he said, at the age of 40, while your mates are becoming presidents, you'll be coming, some people will be pushing wheelbarrows. Why? You did not work on this one. Personal effectiveness shows naturally when this one is in place. Personal effectiveness. I don't have the time to talk about the things you must develop at the level of personal development. There are indices of personal development. There's development of skills. I actually use 5 human, parts of the body to explain how you develop yourself. There's development of the heart. That's development of character and attitude. There's development of the head. That's development of your mind. You read books, listen to tapes, attend seminars, attend conferences like this one. Then there's development of the hands. That's technical development or skill development, where you get competence. You see professionalism. Do you know you can be a professional organizer? I went to Lagos and I saw a mechanic. Same mechanic like the one we have at the mechanic village here. But this one is different. You won't see any coal on the guy who worked there. You won't see one black stain on their clothes. They are so clean. You come in there, the organization, the excellence, and he's a mechanic. The improved technology he uses to test your cars. So with all those packaging, if he tells you just to change your oil is 20,000, why won't you pay? But some other person is changing oil here for 200 naira cup. Some other person is changing for 1,000 naira. Some other person is just to change, even if you brought the oil, is 20,000. Because of personal development. The guy took time to understudy the current trend in that business. There is no mediocre business anywhere. It is mediocre people that make business mediocrity. There's no common business anyway. It's common people who commonize great businesses. You can do what people are doing menially, the most professional way, if you go and sit down and know there is something to read up in every field. Do you know you can sell bananas with a difference? Just go and read about how do they do it. Why are they doing it in China now? Dangote eats bananas. Do you know there's a professional way to barb hair now? Recently, I go to Enugu. Anytime in Enugu, sometimes I leave my hair, they grow. I go to Enugu and barb, and I pay 1,000 naira just to barb. You know why? The way they barb, the things they use there. I don't know if you've ever seen some of them in all the years you've been barbing your hair. The way they barb you, it's the same clipper, but the way they go about their own, the kind of towels they use, the kind of creams, they put it in hot water, they bring it out, the kind of combs they use, their powders, everything so different. The way they service, they add value. That's what you call value added tax. They add value to their services. Everything, the way they talk to you, you can't help but pay extra. When you would have just paid 100 naira in one local Bible salon, you go and pay 1,000 or 2,000. Those are the kind of guys that barbs governors. Governor barbs his head, and he doesn't pay the same thing you pay. So what kind of a man would you become to attract these things? You see the Bible talking about seeing a man diligent in his business. He stands before kings and not mere men. Personal development, you must be diligent at building. You see, skills, competence. Become good at what you do. Then you see the feet. I've talked about the head, mental development. I've talked about the heart, attitude. That's where attitudinal change is. Character development. Part of character development is building stamina. Ability to withstand the pressures and the tempests of life. That God has promised you a Canaan land that flows with milk and honey doesn't mean that the process flows with milk and honey. The road that leads to it may not flow with it. So there are times of trials, times of temptations. Things will try to shake you. In fact, it's one of the ways you know you have a destiny. The devil will come looking for it. He will come with storms. But can you withstand it? Can you withstand pressure? Can you withstand the heat? That is what happens at the place of training character. It's called stamina, passion, resilience. You don't give up easily. It's a value. Resilience is a value. You don't take no for an answer. That's what Albert Einstein had. That's what Thomas Edison had. That's why they kept on one thing until they saw it worked. That is the heart. Then I think I talked to you about the hands, the head. Okay, now there's the feet. What's the feet? Social skills, relationship. Relationship is how you work with people. That's what it is. So it's the feet. Social life. In your compound, how do you relate? You need to go and train. Get skills on how to relate with people. You see also communication in relationship. That's part of social skills. When you meet somebody who is successful in the field you want to be successful, how do you meet the person? Go and get training. Develop yourself in communication. There's an art of communication. There's an art of speech making. How do you approach Dangote if you meet him on the aircraft, in the aircraft now, and in 2 minutes you are friends for life? Pastor says something here that is very important. Some of you don't know these things, and it's good. I wish you paid 10,000 for this meeting. In fact, this meeting we gave you for so much free. He says something that I do, very important. Do you know, each time I'm with Pastor, I'm careful the questions I ask. My Father in the Lord. I played this clip here where I was standing with him a few minutes ago. I don't talk. He's talking, I'm listening. He's talking, I'm listening. He's talking, I'm writing. I even do it with Pastor here. He's talking, I pull out my pen, I pull out my paper, I'm writing. He gets to say more, I'm writing. Pastor is doing, I'm writing. I ask intelligent questions. I don't try to show him I know better than you. Don't do that. I want to go and see him, I go with a gift. It doesn't need me so much. We were at the airport together. We boarded the same plane when we were traveling to Lagos. I am Pastor. The first thing I did, a little stuff I got from Pa. The first thing I did was I showed him. He said, Pastor, is this thing befitting for Pastor? He took it, he looked at it. It's a good one. I said, thank you, sir. Why? The way to a man's heart, you see the gifts of men maketh ways for them. It's in your Bible. You must know how to service relationships. The reason your net worth is not improving is because your network is bad. You don't know how to, you get into relationships, you abuse them. Simple thank you. You don't know gratitude. You develop yourself in those things. And the man is succeeding farther than you doesn't mean he knows he's better than you, he's fortunate than you. There's something he knows and he's doing. When you see a man who God's favor is on his life, go and check. There's something he's doing to service relationship. Favor does not just, it doesn't just fall from the sky. You can receive anointing for favor and waste it. God can anoint you and make men like you at first meeting, but to sustain the likeness, there is this consistency that they must see in your person. They must, these values, humility. Hey, they know this guy is humble, he's respectful, he has this service spirit. They must see that. Okay, let's go to leadership development. At this level of personal effectiveness, you are successful, you are wowed, people love you, people want to hang around you. But now it must transcend to the other one, leadership development. At this point now, you are not developing yourself for yourself. You are now developing other people. Because everything you have received at this level is something that must be given back to somebody. Okay, what am I doing now? I'm teaching you. Why? Because I've crossed the level of personal effectiveness now. I'm helping others become better. But I cannot help people become better until I get personal development. Personal development must first produce personal effectiveness. Then leadership development. That's where you start impacting other people. The first person to be impacted is you. Then you start impacting other people. You attend seminars, you attend workshops, you read books. After acquiring development, you start pushing it to others. You start pushing it to others. That's leadership development. It has nothing to do with getting into politics. That's why the political world is in a mess. Because people go to school, graduate, carry gun for one leader, one politician, and when they win election, they give him coordinator and you call him a leader. He's not a leader. Leadership has nothing to do with position. Leadership is dispositional. Leadership is functional. What is leadership? Lead the sheep. So you see in that your compound, you're the one making the difference there. You're the leader there. In that your classroom, you're the one who people are looking up to. You're the role model there. You're the one causing the changes there. That's the leader. You're the one teaching people how to keep their environment clean in your compound. That's the leader there. Leadership development. So you need leadership skills. Start training people. Start building people with the little things you know. Invest it in others. Okay. The sixth one. Institutional development. I think tomorrow in the service I'm going to dwell on that sixth one. The institutions. You cannot change the nation with just character alone. You know why good men get into office? He's a good Christian. He's a wonderful sister. But after a period of time, the system in that office swallows him up. You know why? Environment is stronger than teaching and training and stronger than character and discipline. There's what we call the Human Development Index, made up of 3 layers. The first one deals with teaching and training. It can only account for 10% of your total development. It doesn't matter what you have heard here now. If you don't do them, it's wasted. Knowledge alone does not change a man. It does not. You can know too much, have a lot of information with few practices or with no practice. It does not change you. So, you see, the second one now deals with discipline and character development. That is 40% of the Human Development Index. That's where you develop stamina to practice what you have learned. But now, you see, discipline and character and what do you call it? Teaching and training is not enough. There is another layer that controls the whole society. It's called environment. Environment deals with the systems and the structures. Facebook is an environment. Playboy station is an environment. These are systems. That's what the devil is good at building. Some of us are doing warfare and you fighting and killing witches. But you see, the devil has gone beyond that. You do spiritual warfare, he's not around you, my friend. He's not doing all of that necessarily. Spiritual warfare is one side of this thing anyways. But the devil is also systemic in nature. We had a 7 mountain training in Lagos. Our eyes were opened beyond imagining. There are 7 mountains of society. And the devil has principalities on all those 7 mountains. For instance, see the mountain of arts and entertainment. Who is the devil responsible there? It's called Jezebel. You think all this nudity we are talking about today just came from the sky, or it just came from the blues? No, there are principalities in charge of those sectors. And what God wants us to do is to go into those sectors and dispossess them. When God was leading the children of Israel out of Egypt into Canaan, remember there were 7 major tribes in that country. The land they were going to possess was already possessed.
But how will they possess the land? They have to dispossess the agents in that land. So they are agents in control of the different environments and systems of the world. See media. There's an agent responsible. See entertainment. A spirit, a demon is responsible for the things going on there. He builds systems. See education. There are systems the devil has built. How do you stop what he's producing? Okay, I give you an example. If alcohol is a problem in Nigeria, how do you stop alcohol? Because this is where we are not getting it right. We are good at playing church, clapping hands, jumping, giving offering and shouting, giving testimonies. We are not good at sitting down and developing systems. That's one of the things I'm doing now. Okay, what is the problem here? What is a factory that can shut down this problem and give society an alternative? That's what we should be thinking about. The church is not good at it. We are good at gathering people, boring them with long sermons and all that. They are all fine. But what is a system is the way to create sustainability of a process. That system. You just build it. You don't need any much effort. The thing keeps recycling. For instance, there's a system that controls your car. There's a system that controls your engine, your generator. You don't need to be there holding one button for the generator to just press it. The system starts reacting. Leave that location. Power is in constant supply. System. So you see all the wrongs in society. There are systems responsible for them. If you want to exit the wrong, create alternative systems. You will get the wrongs out. There are systems responsible for nudity. You see them in the media. That's where we are not good at. That issue of environment. That's what you call institutional development. We are not good at creating systems. Especially in the southeast part of Nigeria. Okay, you want to stop alcohol production. How? People drink a lot of beer. They drink themselves to stupor. If you like, enter all the beer parlors in this city. Take the bottles and break them. Break them. Break them. I hate alcohol. I don't know. All these people who are getting drunk every day. I need to exit this thing. Keep breaking. Keep breaking. You don't need too much of whatever. Sleep that night. You think you've done a good job. Wake up the following morning. You will see more alcohol in the city. More beer. More beer. You will see them. How do you stop the production of alcohol? Go to the factory. If you can shut the factory that produces the alcohol, you won't see one bottle. Give it time. You won't see one again. Just shut down the factory. There's a factory that produces crime. Go and shut it down. There's a factory in our educational system that produces these guys who carry gun, cultists, that produces pornography, that produces nudity, that produces moral decay. We need to shut it down. How? It's not in character alone. You like carry your good boy. You go and sit in that government house or that class. Give it time, they will choke you. And some of us are practicing this Christian of come out from amongst them and be separate. It doesn't mean ignore them. It doesn't mean ignore the problem. The first thing is that your life becomes the model they have to look up to. But now there must be a system that reproduces that life in people. Can't you see that's why we have church? Jesus is our model, but where are we showing him? We put curriculum in church. We put foundation school. That's the system. We put discipleship. We put maturity class. We put PLI, Prison Leadership Institute. We put all of those, school of ministry. What are we doing? We are over time trying to produce Christ likeness in you. That's the system. So at this level now, you want to change a nation. What's the vices you've seen in a nation? Go and build a system. It could be an NGO. It can be churches. Church is a system. It can be organizations. You see, NGOs, faith-based organizations. It could be a company. Yeah. It could be a school, an educational system. Okay, the ones we have around are not doing well enough. You have a body for one. Trust God. Start one. You can start from extramural classes. Do you know you can start? You don't need money to even build a school now. What you need, just one vision. is a problem you've seen in the educational system. How do I help bridge the gap of these guys leaving secondary schools and entering university and getting in polluted? A girl of 14 years now, she knows things that would daze your mind. A boy of 15 years, he's already into all kinds of practices. He's smoking. And where did they learn it from? From secondary school. Okay, now you don't have the capital to start the secondary school. Why not start jam class? God has given you enough knowledge. You know books so much. And because of that gift, people gravitate in your direction. Both the good, the bad, and the ugly. So why not use that as a platform to build a system that changes vices into values? You come for your lecture. Maybe you have 2 hours to teach a course. Why not share it into 2? Take 1 hour or maybe 30 minutes and discuss on pertinent issues affecting young people now. Deal with it. Take the remaining 1. Teach the course. Take maybe 15 minutes later. Do another little discipleship. Imagine that school has to run for maybe 3 months and you do it consistently. You know the impact you will make. Do you know a lecturer that has a classroom, a GST class of 1,000 students is a great pastor? Yes, he is. And remember, we are all priests and kings. There are some whose own priesthood is on the pulpit. There are others whose pulpit and platform is in their marketplaces. Lecture theater, markets, your bank, your classroom. That's your own pulpit. Build a system in that class. Form a group. It starts from there. Institutional development. That extramural class you're running can grow into becoming a big school. It can move from even primary school, crèche, kindergarten to nursery to primary to even secondary and subsequently to university. It is at the level of institutional development that we begin to talk about national transformation. Can't happen until this one is in place. Everybody has got to build an institution. What is your own? Maybe a business. Anything at all. Build something. Institution. How do we solve police issue? We need to build institutions. We don't have a training institution for Nigerian police. The police cannot train itself. I don't know if you're catching what I'm saying. They can't train themselves. They can't. How do we get rid of corruption and vices in the police force? Systems. Then you get national transformation. That's where you see the whole nation now. Wow. The medical world. Wow. The legal world. All the spheres of society conforming to the kingdom of God. Because the ultimate goal for God is to see the nations become like His kingdom. And remember that the kingdom of God is not just one place we go to when we die. The kingdom of God is a country. It's a country. And it has structures and systems. You have to get this. Get this. Get this. Come and bless our spirit. Come.
We believe you've been transformed by the wonders of God's Word. For additional information about us, you can visit our website at www.princetonhills.org. You can also send us a mail at info@princetonhills.org or call
070-331-66762 or 081-31-555-747.
Princeton Hills Ministries, raising global leaders.